You didn't start writing a concession speech, did you?
No. We had one. I never read it.
Did you say nice things about Andrew Cuomo?
Democrats, it feels as if we are often in an ever-lowering ceiling of possibility. And it's time to finally bring that imagination back.
I mentioned you and Lina are Muslims. A report from Equality
We are.
Labs. Sorry.
We are.
Breaking news.
Yes,
breaking news.
news.
Jonathan Greenblatt. He announced the Mamdani Monitor. Do you think Jonathan Greenblatt is engaging in Islamophobia?
And I think that's what makes Islamophobia distinct. It's not the existence of it, it's the toleration of it.
Kevin O'Leary going on TV saying, I don't have a free bus yet, you're not even there yet.
He wanted a free hotel room.
Free hotel room.
And a free taxi. I would freeze the rent for 4 years. And if we haven't done that by the time of re-election, you might not even have me back on.
Would you have a meeting with Trump if he came into New York? Is it time for Chuck Schumer to go?
4 p.m., pick the phone up. It's a random uncle from the Bronx who's like, I never thought you'd pick up. I'm like, who is this? It's gonna be affordability every single day. And the first place that we start with that affordability is going to be in housing.
We have a quick quiz for you.
I'm gonna fail
before
this.
we wrap up. It's called Guess the Bollywood Song.
Oh, God.
He pulled off the biggest political victory of 2025, an election win so stunning, so dramatic, so seemingly impossible just a year ago that people are still talking about it all across the world. Yes, Zohran Mamdani is mayor-elect of New York City, but can he deliver on those big, bold and popular promises that he made? In a Zateo exclusive, Zohran Mamdani joins me now here from his campaign headquarters in New York City.
How's it going?
Good to see you. Congratulations, Mr. Mayor-elect. Is that what we call you now?
Yes, it is. For the next 43 days.
Okay, we have a little reminder there. Congratulations on your big net win. What a night that was for you. We were there in Brooklyn watching history being made. It was kind of, a lot of people asked me what that was like. A lot of energy in the room, emotion, people crying, history being made. What was it like for you, especially backstage, before you come on? Are you pinching yourself? This is really happening?
It was surreal. I was only backstage for a very brief period of time. For much of it, I was in a hotel room watching the results. And for about 3 hours from 6 to 9 p.m., my brain was running wild after hearing the rumors of 2 bad exit polls that we were told, which had Cuomo in the advantage.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
You didn't start writing a concession speech, did you?
No, we had one. I never read it. But I wanted to make sure that it was actually
Did you say nice things about Andrew Cuomo in the concession speech?
I can't tell you. I still haven't read it. Hopefully we'll never have to give it.
No, you don't. Yeah. So you're standing on stage, your pinch is surreal.
It's surreal. I think it's also incredible because I'm on that stage and I'm looking out into a crowd of people who some of them have helped to raise me. Some of them have, people I went to school with, people who were canvassing with us in the winter. So often canvassing in mayoral elections begins with petitioning.
Yeah.
And these were people who were there at the library, in the days when it was so cold that no one even knew an election was coming. And they were there in the crowd. They were there. They had punched their Zetro cards 2 times over. And to be able to share that moment with them, it was lovely. But I still haven't been able to see the stream, huh?
You haven't seen our live stream was good.
Yeah?
Ted Cruz
Should I
loved
rewatch
it. Ted Cruz loved it.
Yeah.
It's there for you to watch.
Did you see when he popped up in The View? Did it say like dead?
No, he was on Fox criticizing our live stream. That night, you win. It's a big night for the Democrats. Democrats win almost everywhere. Yeah. Mikey Sherrill wins in New Jersey, the governorship. Abigail Spanberger wins the governorship in Virginia. A lot of Democrats, a lot of pundits say those are the victories we should look at for lessons. Zohran Mamdani's win was good, but it's New York. It's not replicable on a national stage. What do you think your win teaches or tells your party nationwide?
I try to keep my focuses mostly on New York. I think of that New Yorker cover where the world ends at New Jersey. Yeah, okay. That's how I try to keep my sense of the globe. But a national Democrat calls you and says, Zohran, great job. What should we learn from your win? I think the thing I often go back to is when Trump won the presidency, there were many articles written, obituaries of the Democratic Party's ability to engage with young voters, with young men, with Asian voters. And what we showed, in fact, is that these same constituencies that we had been told were potentially forever leaving the party could in fact be the foundations of a campaign at the heart of the party to win it back. And that's what we saw in this election. Young people, young men, Asian voters, so many of the people who'd been overlooked at best in our party politics were right there. And I think the key of this was that we spoke to New Yorkers with a sense of respect, as opposed to the condescension that is so endemic with specific sets of constituencies. And as much as we spoke, we also listened to them. And we actually asked them, what is it that is making it so difficult for you to afford life in this city?
Your famous opening video in the Bronx. You recently announced the appointment of Dean Falahan as your deputy mayor and El Biscard Church as your chief of staff. You did the announcement at Roosevelt House here in New York. Was that your way of saying, FDR, we're aiming big?
Liking this video? Then don't just watch, hit like, share and subscribe. And tap the bell so you never miss a video or live show. But if you want early access to exclusive content, then you have to head to zeteo.com and subscribe now. You'll be supporting fearless, independent journalism.
You got it.
Okay.
That's exactly, and I think it's part of this is we want to show the lineage that we are looking to be a part of, a vision of government that has an affirmative sense of what it will actually do for the people it looks to serve. You know, there used to be this battle seemingly between the Republican Party and the Democratic Party of small government or big government. Now it seems to be that the Republican Party is committed to big government, but their understanding of big government is secret police across the streets of the nation.
Trump gets to own a bit of intel.
And you know, doctors get to tell you that you cannot actually make your own decisions with regards to your own body. And that's their vision. The big question is, what is the Democratic Party's vision in this moment? And in sharing the news of our first appointments firmly within a history of what it can look like when the Democratic Party actually dreams and delivers for working class people, it shows that we can return back to what used to be that vision.
So you recently announced your transition team too. It's pretty star-studded, mostly run by women. CNBC was reporting the other day.
I have to tell you something before you even go on. I had an uncle, not blood relative, an uncle.
Yeah, we have to specify what the relation is.
I had an uncle text me, and he was like, all women? It's like, we should diversify this.
Yeah, we need to, what about the men? What about the uncles?
It's like, brother, don't worry.
You had your time.
Everyone will be there.
Everyone will
You're
be there.
going to be fine.
I think the uncles will be fine. CNBC reported that some business leaders in this great city are, quote, looking for therapy and therapists because of one particular woman on your team, transition co-chair, former Federal Trade Commission chair, Lina Khan, who they fear, they hate in many cases. What is the symbolism of her appointment? What message are you sending to business leaders?
Well, I think the message we're sending to everyone is that at a time when Donald Trump is looking to use the law as a weapon to punish working class people, here is someone who has showcased the ability for the law to be something that protects those same people. And I have long been inspired by Lina Khan's protection of people across this country in the face of corporate greed and the willingness to actually use the tools of government to take action. Because for so long, what we've been told are the only options in front of us are to support something or to issue a strongly worded letter in opposition to that thing. And what she has shown is, in fact, you can use these tools to deliver.
So on that note, there's been reporting that Lina Khan, I think Semaphore reporting that she's exploring using some of the lesser known laws hidden away on the books in New York to help bring costs down and get your affordability agenda through and have legal backing. Semaphore reported that she has a plan to make sure Yankees fans aren't ripped off by the price of beer in the stadium. Is that something you are working on together? And if so, will New Yorkers have two Muslims to thank for cheaper beer at football games?
Baseball games, huh?
Oh, I'm from the UK. I don't know anything about American sport.
It's all good.
The World Cup's coming. That's what we care about.
The World Cup is coming, 2026.
Yeah.
Did you watch the last game, the England game?
The England game. I was at the last World Cup final. Do you know? A little bit of trivia.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
I was at the Ghana-Uruguay game where Luis Suarez illegally stopped the ball from crossing the line.
But you're probably going to get invited to all the great games now. That's probably why you ran for mayor.
I've also just gone after FIFA quite a number of times.
That's
so
true.
I think some of the invites
but that's why they'll shut you up with like free tickets. So are you going to be lowering prices with Lina Khan? Not just for beer. Not just for beer, not just at baseball games.
You know, I think one of the things that I often think about that Lina mentioned to me is that when she went to the Federal Trade Commission, there was a sense of engaging with the great forgetting of what all these tools could actually deliver on. And one of the things I'm so excited by is to look at city government with a fresh pair of eyes of what powers do we have to deliver for New Yorkers. And that's one of the things that'll be so helpful in having Lina be one of the co-chairs of this transition, is to look at all of these tools, because Republicans, they have a sense of imagination that is ever expanding.
Yes.
It can extend to purchasing Greenland.
Yes.
And Democrats, it feels as if we are often in an exercise of an ever lowering ceiling of possibility.
Yes.
And it's time to finally bring that imagination back.
I hope so. I mentioned you and Lina are Muslims. A report from Equality Labs Breaking news.
Yes,
breaking news. A report from Equality Labs analyzed 17.1 million online posts related to you and your campaign. They found that 80% of all posts across all platforms were Islamophobic. 7% of them labeled you a terrorist. 7% cautioned voters that if elected, you would impose Sharia law in America. We heard a lot about anti-Semitism during the campaign, which you repeatedly condemned. We heard a lot about that from mainstream media, even from Democratic Party leaders, but not about Islamophobia, which has been totally mainstreamed in our politics and online.
It has, and I think it's very easy to try and describe Islamophobia as if it belongs exclusively within one party, when the reality is that it is a part of politics at large in this city. And this report was honestly, it's one thing to go through something. It's another thing when you read a comprehensive study of that experience and to see just the immense scale of this kind of rhetoric and the distance it can travel. It also is an insight into what passes for political leadership in this moment across the city and across this country. And I think, you face a lot of this as well.
Unfortunately.
And I'll be honest with you, I try and just move through it.
Yeah.
Right? I try and just remember the words of Toni Morrison about the function of racism is distraction. And then there just came a point in this race where
you had to give a speech.
I had to give a speech because the temptation was to treat everything as if it was a 24-hour news cycle.
Yeah.
And at a certain point, you have to take a step back and say, am I going to tolerate this?
Yeah. Unfortunately, people are tolerating it. And
I think that's what makes Islamophobia distinct. It's not the existence of it, it's the toleration of it.
Yes. Meanwhile, Jonathan Greenblatt, the CEO and National Director of the Anti-Defamation League, the ADL, he announced the Mamdani Monitor to track the actions of your administration that, quote, impact Jewish safety and security. What do you make of that, of him, of the ADL? I don't remember him starting a Trump monitor after the president was re-elected, after Trump hosted a Holocaust denier at his home, called neo-Nazis very fine people, things that you have not done. Do you think Jonathan Greenblatt is engaging in Islamophobia by picking on a Muslim politician and making his record about anti-Semitism?
I can't tell you what he's engaging in. What I will tell you is that I have my doubts in his ability to put together a credible and comprehensive monitor of anything, given the fact that he went on national television and said that I had not visited a synagogue over the course of the campaign, only to have that have to be corrected then again on national television. And I think this is what we will see time and time again, which is over the course of this race, and now as we are preparing this administration, is an attempt to try and separate the issues from the people of this city themselves and make them into part of a political discourse. I am interested in serving every single person of this city. I am interested in fulfilling the commitments of this campaign. And one of those commitments is to take on the scourge of anti-Semitism across the 5 boroughs, to work deeply with Jewish New Yorkers right here. And that's one of the things I've appreciated so much over the course of the primary, of the general, and what I'll be looking forward to as well in the admin.
You mentioned serving everyone in New York. One particular resident of New York is a man named Bill Ackman, who you and I have talked about before, billionaire hedge fund manager. He was one of your biggest critics on Israel, on anti-Semitism, on taxes. He said
on character limits.
On character limits. I know you feel strongly about that. He said the National Guard should be deployed to New York if you win. Now he's done a pivot. And he's tweeting on election night, Zohran Mamdani, congrats on the win. If I can help NYC, just let me know what I can do. Have you been in touch with Bill? Is there a job for him that you have in mind?
I haven't been in touch with Bill, but sure I am looking to deliver a city, even for Bill.
Has there been any surprise phone calls you had since you were elected you didn't think? From somebody that, oh wow, they called me to congratulate you?
There was a moment where I was expecting a phone call from a governor, and we didn't know what number was going to come in. And it was at 4 p.m. sharp.
Okay.
And so I've been getting a lot of phone calls. It's the same number I've had since high school.
Yeah.
And so it's just like, okay, 4 p.m., pick the phone up. We don't know, they won't tell it, just pick it up. So 4 p.m., bang, I pick it up. And it's a random uncle from the Bronx.
Not a biological uncle, we should be clear again.
I never thought you'd pick up. I'm like, who is this?
Are you the governor of a major American state?
He's like, I'm here with my father. We love you.
They put you on the phone too, of course.
I'm like, that's great, brother. But
you've just screwed yourself by telling everyone that you have the same number from high school. So now everyone who went to high school with you knows that they can call you at any time.
They call, they text.
And if you went to high school, you and the president of the United States are really easy to get hold of on cell phones, apparently. You mentioned governors. I love the way you're pivoting. You're segueing into each of my questions. Governor Hochul of New York was pretty consistent during the campaign. She said she supported you for mayor, but she couldn't support you on a 2% tax rise on those making over $1 million a year, that she was against tax increases going into an election year 2026 for her. Bloomberg is now reporting that she may be considering corporate tax increases, something that you've also called for, to help fund one of your big priorities, hers as well, universal childcare. You met with her last week. Is she on board now with some form, if not the 2% tax hike, then some kind of higher tax on the wealthy to fund universal childcare?
So we spent that meeting, which was an incredibly productive one, on the agenda itself, the outcomes of that agenda. Now, as you said, one of them is universal childcare, because New Yorkers are spending $22,500 a year on childcare currently for one child. The other is fast and free buses. And then the other we've talked about is freezing the rent for rent-stabilized tenants. Now, freezing the rent is something that can be done without Albany's assistance, but making buses fast and free, universal childcare, those will be dependent on the relationship we build with Albany. And what I'm so excited by is that the governor shares that same belief in universal childcare, affordability agenda. And I've said, look, that I think the two most straightforward ways to raise the money for these outcomes.
But do you see any change in her? I know what your plan is. You were very clear about it.
I see a continued commitment to delivering on the agenda.
You say that, but a few weeks ago, Hochul also told reporters that she, quote, cannot set forth a plan right now that takes money out of a system that relies on the fares of buses and the subways. That sounds like she's shooting down your plan to make buses free, one of your core promises.
So I don't take that in that manner. What I take that as is a recognition that we cannot demand of the MTA something that would deprive them of fare box revenue without providing them an alternate source of that revenue. There are some people who've thought that when I say make buses free, it just means telling the MTA you're going to have to deal with a loss of $700-800 million in annual fare box revenue. The truth is we would provide an alternate source for that $700 million a year. That's what we're going to do.
Okay. You didn't just meet with Hochul. Axios reported that you met with or spoke with multiple Democratic governors.
And that random uncle.
And the random uncle who was kind of a governor. J.B. Pritzker, Wes Moore, Josh Shapiro. Did you strategize about how to resist Trump, I wonder? Because they have been governors at the forefront of pushing back against Trump coming into Chicago and LA and elsewhere. What did you talk about with them? Is there a plan to push back if Trump comes into New York with troops, with increased ICE presence?
That was a focus of a lot of those conversations. And I think we have the benefit here in New York City of being able to learn from the example, as you've said, whether we're speaking about in Illinois or in California or in Pennsylvania or Maryland. And one of the things that I have so appreciated is that so many of these governors have utilized different parts of the powers that they have, right? It is the bully pulpit, it is the courts, it is the actual policy tools, and then it is also making the case to the White House. And I think all of these things will be critical in delivering on this. And I think the other thing we also spoke about, separate from how to push back against the White House's agenda, is also the importance of cutting red tape and increasing efficiency while we are tackling that authoritarian administration.
Wes Moore and Gavin Newsom just come to mind as two governors who have both sparred with Trump, but also met with him and had perfectly cordial meetings with him. Would you have a meeting with Trump if he came into New York and said, I want to sit down with you?
Yes, we've actually reached out to the White House to set up a meeting to make the case for what would actually benefit
You've invited the White House. You've invited Donald Trump for a meeting.
We've reached out to set up a meeting.
Have they responded?
They're currently in conversations.
Are they going to call at 4 o'clock?
If you're watching this, you know that the mainstream media is failing us. Corporate-controlled, billionaire-owned news isn't just biased, it's distracting. That's why I launched Zeteo, to cut through the noise and seek the truth. But I can't do it all. That's where Ground News comes in. It's an independent platform that gathers thousands of articles and puts them all in one place with the context you need. When you click on a story, you'll be able to see who's covering it and compare different headlines from outlets around the world with a visual breakdown of each source's political bias, reliability, and who owns it. Take this story about Israel's starvation of Gaza. One scroll will show you over 100 ways it's being framed. See who's covering the story. See who's not covering the story. So you know where your news is really coming from. See for yourself and subscribe. Scan the QR code or go to ground.news/Zeteo. You'll get 40% off the unlimited Access Vantage subscription. That's less than $5 a month. What are you waiting for?
In your victory speech, you said that this is the most ambitious agenda to tackle the cost of living crisis that New York has seen. But that ambition could be your undoing, could it not? Because it really does raise expectations. I mean, realistically, we love the sound of it.
It just sounds like the 4 p.m. newscast.
It's the 4 p.m. newscast.
It sounds great.
It sounds great, but I'm going to throw in the but as the journalist in the room. What is your plan for delivering real outcomes fast enough that the narrative doesn't quickly turn into progressive mayor, overpromised but underdelivered? You know that's a big risk. You have Kevin O'Leary going on TV saying, I don't have a free bus yet, you're not even mayor yet. So
he wanted a free hotel room and a free taxi.
Wasn't in your agenda. But my point being is like that we could laugh about that, but you know, on day one, they will want delivery. You're going to be held to a different clock and a different standard to others.
Absolutely.
So what do you do about it?
And I think one of the key things is you even just look at this transition period. It's typically a time of pageantry, right? It's a time of just ticking off the boxes of the 800 people that will be running on your transition. We want to make this an actual time of substance. And that's why every single day we are building this team out. We've put out an open call for applications. We have applicants from every single but one
over 50,000, I saw.
Yeah, over 50,000. Please apply. And what we're showing is that this can actually be a time of work. Because you're right, starting from day one, New Yorkers will be impatient as they have every right.
But over your shoulder, you have 43 days until inauguration.
Yes,
do you have a version of that for some of your policy pledges? Like a countdown ticker going, shit, we better do universal childcare, they're going to come for us.
Each one of the three things that was the centerpiece of this campaign, those are things that I will deliver before leaving office. And we are going to be working through these 43 days.
Hold on. You just said before leaving office.
Yeah.
It's a very careful use of words. That could be a 2-term. Could we have an exact date and time? End of your first term.
You want me to tell you how many terms we're going to serve?
Just end of your first term. Is it going to be done by the end of your first term?
I'm giving you a promise I can keep. And
that was a very politician answer.
How?
Before I leave office, but we don't know when you're going to leave office, so there's no real time frame.
The maximum is 8 years. I'm not getting a third term.
8 years. But hold on, it's important. So at the end of your first term, you might run for election having not achieved any of your 3 key goals.
Now you're going to say I'm not going to achieve any of them. I'm telling you I'm going to achieve all of them.
Will you achieve one of them by the time you run for
I'll
election?
achieve one of them by the time.
Oh, well, okay, I'll take it. That's a straight answer.
Because I've said that I would freeze the rent for 4 years.
Okay.
If we haven't done that by the time of re-election,
then you'll be in trouble.
You might not even have me back on.
So your campaign energized a lot of young... I promise I won't do another pity interview ever again.
You turned out so poorly for you.
Mr. Mayor-elect turned out wonderfully for you, badly for me. Your campaign energized a lot of young people, a lot of minorities, a lot of non-voters, motivated them to come to the polls. The challenge of being a minority, of course, is that you're anointed as a representative for the entire community. You know this.
You know this too.
I do, unfortunately, but I don't have to run a major world city. If you don't deliver for New York, it'll be not just Mamdani that's failed, it's socialism that's failed. If you don't deliver for New York, it'll be Muslims have failed in public office. Immigrants have failed, not just Zohran Mamdani. Sorry, I don't want to, I'm trying to get to the bottom of how much does this weigh on you? Serious question. I know. That must weigh on you in this moment where everything's great now. The uncles are calling you all the time now, but they're the first people who'll turn on you and say, you let us down, beta.
Yeah. Look, I'm sure those calls will come. And I think the important thing for me is if I focus on the work, if I deliver, then everything else can come with that. But if you are chasing that validation, then you start to find yourself increasingly divorced from why you're doing this. I mean, in the beginning of this, it was not for the validation because there wasn't all that much to be found when we started this campaign, right? We were told again and again, this was an interesting idea, maybe this was a vanity campaign, this was that. And we had to build something.
Yes.
And I think that is also the way...
But you built it with the historic firsts. On election night, we put up that graphic. Yeah. First African-born mayor, first Muslim mayor, first socialist...
First Arsenal fan.
First Arsenal fan. Did we ask all the previous mayors who they supported?
I'm going to go out on a limb and say...
But those firsts must weigh on you.
I think they are part of how the world sees me.
Yeah.
And I also know that to be a first means all of those that came before you. And always reckoning with that, of what you are a part of. You cannot lose sight of all of that.
You recently spoke out against Republicans refusing to extend subsidies for the Affordable Care Act during the shutdown. You were against the 8 Senate Democrats who voted with Trump and the Republicans to reopen the government. Chuck Schumer oversaw that debacle. There's some reporting.
Before you keep going, Dora, can you get my phone for 1 second? I want to show you one photo.
Okay.
You can keep going.
All right, I'll keep going. You recently spoke out against the Republicans. Chuck Schumer oversaw that debacle in the Senate. A lot of people say he was involved in the negotiating behind the scenes. A lot of people are upset with him. The polls show he's super unpopular. Is it time for Chuck Schumer to go?
I think it's time for me to focus on this transition and to start delivering for New Yorkers from day one. I think I've been clear. I think it was a very bad deal. It does not make any sense to me to have fought for the extension.
But you are now,
subsidies.
sorry to break this to you, Zohran Mamdani, you are now a prominent national Democrat. Your name is up there when people talk about Democratic leaders. So when we're talking about Chuck Schumer's effectiveness, whether he should stay in the role, people expect you to have an opinion.
I can tell you the opinion of the deal. That is not a deal.
How about the opinion of the Democratic Party and how it behaved?
I think
disappointing?
I think you cannot separate the party at large from that deal. I mean, this was a shutdown, which was because of the Republican Party's insistence on throwing millions of Americans off of healthcare to the extent that they would rather shut the entirety of the government down, throw millions of people off of SNAP benefits. And then after all of those days, to just reopen it without having won any of those same demands, it begs the question of what was the point of all this?
Yeah. And the polling shows, unfortunately, that Democrats are now associated with having lost the battle for the shutdown, having been ahead. Speaking of Democratic leadership, the New York Times recently reported that you dissuaded young progressive city council member Chi Osei from primarying House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries. Is it true that you discouraged him from running? And if so, why? Many would say Hakeem Jeffries also needs primarying, not just Chuck Schumer.
You know, what I've shared is that I have deep respect for what Chi has done at the city council, especially for tenants. And for those who don't know, you should look into the FAIR Act. And I believe that the most critical fight right now in delivering affordability and taking on authoritarian administration is right here in New York City. But give me 1 second. I want to show you something very quickly.
Okay.
You're asking me about Chuck Schumer. If I could just take the top phone. So
this is the phone that all uncles can
this is the
call
phone that
Zohran on.
Who is this?
That is your father, Mahmoud Mamdani.
Who does he look increasingly like?
Chuck Schumer. Is that why you won't call for Chuck Schumer to go? Because
right?
he looks
Doesn't
like your
this
dad?
Look just like?
Because he looks like your dad.
This is my dad.
Him and Chuck Schumer have very different views on the Middle East.
But they have the same vantage point from the glasses.
Okay. So now you know why.
Make sure that was.
Now you know why.
This is a Zateo exclusive.
Zateo exclusive. Why Zohran Mamdani will not call for Chuck Schumer to go because he looks like his dad. On Chi Osei and Jeffries, you were saying.
On Chi Osei and Jeffries.
Yeah. Should he not? If he runs, will he have your support?
I've said, you know, while I appreciate the work that he's done at the council, I think that the focus of the fight should be right here in New York City.
So interestingly, the Times is reporting that you discouraged him from primarying Hakeem Jeffries, but that you encouraged New York City comptroller, whatever you call the damn job, Brad Lander.
You have to say the word right to ask the question.
Everyone says it differently. Brad Lander to challenge Democratic Congressman Dan Goldman, not a fan of yours, in New York's 10th Congressional District. Where did that idea come from? Why encourage Brad Lander to run for Congress rather than not make him your deputy mayor?
I continue to count Brad as a friend. He's someone who I had the opportunity to know before we both ran for mayor, and he's someone who continues to be someone I look to for advice, someone I look to build with. But a lot of the New York Times reporting on this question, it goes beyond the conversations we're actually having.
So have you encouraged him to challenge Dan Goldman?
I've encouraged him to keep focusing on the job at hand, which is serving New Yorkers.
By possibly primarying Dan Goldman. That would be a way of serving New Yorkers.
The conversations I've had with Brad have had to do with New York City.
All right, you can read into that what you want. You said that as mayor, you'd be keeping on NYPD Commissioner Jessica Tisch. Many of your critics on the left say that keeping Tisch would be a continuation of the status quo here in New York City. She's against bail reform. She's spoken out against pro-Palestine protesters. She's even worked in the intelligence division that constructed a surveillance system for Muslims in New York. What do you say to your supporters who are a little bit disillusioned on this one appointment and say, come on, Zohran, why would you keep her on?
So I said in the primary that I would consider keeping on Commissioner Tisch, and then I said in the general that this is a decision I was making to retain her. And much of that had to do with the fact that when Eric Adams had appointed Commissioner Tisch, he had truly stacked the upper echelons of the NYPD with corruption and a complete lack of accountability. And what she has been able to do in the time that she's been commissioner has been to start to root that corruption out, start to deliver accountability and reduce crime across the 5 boroughs. And that this is an appointment that I would make in tandem with delivering on the agenda that we put forward over the course of the primary. That's an agenda that will create a Department of Community Safety.
Yep.
That is an agenda that will ensure that we are dismantling the strategic response group as the way the NYPD responds to protests. And it's an agenda that understands that safety and justice have to be delivered together. This is a decision that fulfills and then develops out of it.
Are you planning on expanding the size of the New York Police Department?
No, I've said that the number of police officers that the department has is a sufficient number. The most important thing is that we only ask those officers to do the work of policing, as opposed to now, we're asking them to also take on the homelessness crisis, the mental health crisis, so many different examples of the failures of the social safety net. That's going to be the focus of the Department of Community Safety.
Just on Commissioner Tisch, according to the New York Daily News, she received advance notice from the Trump administration about that horrific ICE raid along Canal Street last month, and that she apparently directed NYPD officers to stay away from ICE agents who were doing their jobs. Has that changed your view of her at all? And will that kind of thing be happening next year on your watch as well?
What I will make clear as the leader of this city is that the days of a mayor going on national television and opening the door to civil immigration enforcement, as Mayor Adams did, those days are coming to an end. The NYPD is not going to assist ICE in their operations, and we are going to fulfill the laws of our city and our state, not violate them.
So just to be clear, if a Canal Street happened again, the NYPD commissioner on your watch would not be directing NYPD officers to stay out of it and let ICE do whatever they want?
The NYPD commissioner would not be directing the NYPD to assist ICE in those operations. And I've also made clear that we should hold anyone in this same city and same state to the same set of laws, no matter who they are or what agency they're performing for.
What is going to be, we've talked about policy issues. You have your 3 famous policy issues.
What are they?
Freeze the rents, free buses, universal childcare.
Give it to me.
There you go, there you go. I mean, on a serious point,
Yeah.
I said this in 2016. Donald Trump had a very simple agenda.
Yeah.
So build a wall, ban Muslims. I still remember it now, 9 years. I don't remember what Hillary Clinton's plan. I'm sure she had a great childcare plan, but it was like 100 pages. You managed to do a very Trumpy thing, dare I say, in a positive way, and boil it down to memorable messages,
Look at this guy.
just not bigoted ones. What is your priority on day one? Day one, you're sworn in. What is it? What's the first thing you do? What's your first priority with your team?
It's going to be affordability every single day. And the first place that we start with that affordability is going to be in housing. And the question of how we not only deliver for those who are rent stabilized tenants, it's about 2.5 million of the tenants of a city of 8.5 million, but also how we implement it across the way we look at housing.
Before we finish, a couple of things. I spoke to your mum briefly on election night, Mira, acclaimed film director, producer. She described herself wonderfully that night to me as the producer of the candidate, is what she said.
True.
I think a lot of people who know you and know your backstory get the influence that your dad, Chuck Schumer, had on you. Mahmoud Mamdani, academic, political commentator, Muslim author. They get what the influence he had. That makes sense. Like, okay, the father's very critical. They get it. What are your mother's influence? What influence has she had on you to produce the candidate, the mayor of New York?
My mother would say, if we don't tell our own stories, no one else will. And that has been something that has stayed with me for quite some time, especially in the thinking about which parts of the city we think about and which parts we overlook. And so much of this campaign has been about looking to speak to the entirety of New York City, not just the world of New York City politics. And that means breaking out of that bubble. That means going to people who voted for candidates that you oppose. That means speaking to people who didn't vote at all. And she also would often tell me about the importance of having the skin of an elephant and being able to endure the kind of backlash that oftentimes comes with the vision that we have been sharing. And she's spoken about that from the vantage point of being an independent filmmaker, of having to deal with rejection after rejection, of having to deal with a whole set of incentives for the kinds of films that people want to make easily, and then the ones that also deserve to be made, and the tension between those things.
And on the subject of films,
Please.
like many others, I couldn't help but notice on election night, you finished your victory speech and Doom Machale came out of the...
Doom.
Yeah, was that your choice?
Who's going to choose that?
I don't know. Checking. I don't know. Okay.
Yes,
that was
that's my
you.
choice.
That was from the hit.
A lot of things I'll give credit to the team. This is me.
So the hit. Well, you may regret that in a moment. That's from the hit 2004 Bollywood action thriller Doom. You obviously know your Bollywood. You're obviously a Bollywood fan. Your mother's made films.
Casual.
We have a quick quiz for you.
I'm going to fail
before
this.
we wrap up
I want to be very clear. I'm going to fail this.
And it's called. Let me get my phone. It's called Guess the Bollywood Song.
Oh God.
We're going to play 10 seconds of a song. Just music.
Is this going to be selectively edited to help me?
No.
Okay.
We're going to play 10 seconds, and you are going to try and identify the song. It's very easy. I chose all easy ones just for you. So here we go. We ready? Here we go.
Fox News would never do this to me.
Fox News don't know what Bollywood is. Here we go.
Oh my goodness.
It's very easy.
Chaya.
There you go. Chaya from Dilse, 1998.
Thank
How old were you in
God.
1998?
Why are you asking these
I
questions?
don't know.
Just
'Cause
focus
you're
on the
England.
songs.
Okay, next song. Here we go. You ready?
Okay.
Ready?
One for one.
One for
How
one.
many are we doing?
5. Here we go.
I'm going to lose the whole first titles.
That brain whirring.
What year was this from?
This film is 2012.
2012?
Yeah. You're like, I should know this.
Yeah.
But you were so busy looking at rent freeze policy.
What is this?
This is Radha from Student of the Year, Ali Abad.
I haven't seen Student of the Year, but I do love Ali Abad.
Okay, so that's one.
Have you seen Student of the Year 2?
I have not.
Well, that says a lot about you.
Okay. I'm not the one losing in this quiz right now. Here
I'm
we
1
go.
for 1. I'm 1 for 2. I'm
But that's a very easy one. Here we go.
I feel like Shah Rukh Khan is like moving.
Shah Rukh Khan is
this
moving.
song.
Shah Rukh Khan is definitely moving.
He's like
in the
just
song.
come to the top of the steps.
Yeah.
He's like this.
So you're buying time, but you don't know the name of the song.
I'm buying time.
It's Mehdi Laga Ke Rakhna from
Oh
DDLJ.
my God.
How can you not get DDLJ?
I thought you could give me a little more time and get into some lyrics.
No, there's no lyrics.
Okay.
It's beautifully done. Do you know who's a fan of DDLJ I discovered recently?
Who?
Ilhan Omar. Congresswoman Omar's big Bollywood
Should have had Call a Friend.
should have called a friend.
Yeah.
Okay, here we go.
1
We're nearly-
out of 3.
So you're now losing. Here we go. This is an easy one. This is a very easy one.
Oh my God. Okay. This is one of 2 songs that I always confuse.
I'll give you 2 guesses since you're losing.
Where's the Party Tonight or
Nope.
It's the Time to Disco.
Yes,
Okay.
correct. I'll give you.
Yeah.
That's you're 2 for 2. It's a score. It's a draw right now.
Okay.
2 right, 2 wrong. You got to get
This
this
is the
one.
final one.
This is the final one. It's actually made it more tense.
Can you just play It's Time to Disco one more time?
Yeah, sure. I do it to make you feel
song.
better. Get you in the mood for
Just
getting it right. Because if you get this one,
great.
you've made it very unnecessarily tense now.
Here we go.
Okay, here we go. Decider. Number
Final
5.
over. 1 ball left. This is Ajana Chile.
Yes, it is from Monsoon Wedding, your mother's movie. If you got that one wrong, Miranda would be very upset with her son if you got that one wrong.
I wanted to keep it close. I wanted to keep it, I wanted to make sure that engagement was high
2-1.
for this section.
You got it.
If it was all answers, it would have been
You
bad.
got the deciding one. Final question. Who's your favorite Bollywood star? Male or female, all time? You're thinking about this like I've asked you about whether Jessica Tisch should stay on as commissioner of the NYPD. It's just who's your favorite Bollywood star?
It's tough.
I would say Shah Rukh Khan.
I love Shah Rukh. I would say Shah Rukh Khan. My favorite Bollywood film might be Munna Bhai though.
Oh,
Why do you say it like that?
just a curveball.
Have you seen Munna Bhai?
Of course I've seen Munna Bhai. Sanjay Dutt.
Yeah.
Great film. That's going to make me think. Now that's going to make me think. Why you
Is it
picked
great?
that? Interesting.
Munna Bhai.
Because of the songs or because you didn't become a doctor?
Song. Come on, everything.
Brown guy didn't become a doctor. But you became mayor. Have you seen all the memes about how now brown people will be judged by you? Come on, beta. Zohran was mayor and
I
married
saw
by
one
34.
TikTok where, where a young brown guy shared a text from his mom. And she was like, you also went to Bronx Science? Why aren't you the mayor? And see, that's the other side. You're all like, what if you disappoint? Then I'll make his life easier.
That's true.
That's the other side of this.
But you have destroyed a lot of Desi men's conversations with their parents for many years to come. Mayor-elect Mamdani, congratulations. Thank you for taking time out for Zateo.
Thank you. Pleasure.
Did you like this video? Don't forget to subscribe to this YouTube channel and turn on notifications. For exclusive content and to support our independent, unfiltered journalism, head over to zateo.com. Your support matters.